I used to make the joke about standing over somebody with a moviola, telling them where to make a cut. So bringing this back down to what we're saying about animators, anybody thinking they can tell anybody else how to do what it is they do in any respect never makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It never makes sense. They wouldn't want someone doing it to them. But giving a line reading, as someone who studied acting and someone who studied directing, and I'm not a gifted director, don't ever think you know how to tell someone to do their job.
Right. Right. Or you go to the microphone and do it yourself, which is what Mark Dindal did for Max's few wonderfully funny lines.
I got to tell you, just like Kevin doing Lester's
Possum Park.
Mark was great. And that brings me to something. There's a scene in there where there's this Greek chorus chant in Latin.
I was just going to ask you about that for Max.
For Max.
Yeah.
It's the conceit of the Greek chorus, but it's in Latin.
Mm-hmm.
And it's these Latin chants, but there's an inside joke of what the Latin means. And I remember you telling me what it was, and I'm laughing hysterically. But can you recall sort of what they were?
I can work on it a little bit. It happens a little bit once earlier in the film.
Been nice knowing you, pal.
And then later, when Max is threatening Danny and he's walking to the backstage area. Closer to the end.
Very end, yeah.
So the bigger moment, there's a little bit of it earlier in the film when we first see Max, but that doesn't matter. The big one, the payoff one, is later. And I wish I could remember one of the guys, it might have been the film editor. What was his name? You've got it written down somewhere. Terrific guy. I think it was he that told me that the Latin that the singers are chanting for this Max music means, it translates something like, he is real big, he will step on you. He is big, he will crush you. Something like that.
Yes,
and it comes out as a sort of Latinate chant. It's chanty. And I love that because it's a wonderful idea, because Max is a supernatural character. He's like not real. He's like something from Skinwalker Ranch, and he walks through walls. So Dan Molina. I think I asked Dan about that, or he offered that as a funny anecdote. And we were all laughing at that on the stage, and it sounds great. You people who haven't seen the movie, enjoy it, because you're going to hear the men's chorus going, and it means he will step on you, or something like that.
He is massive. He will crush you.
Yeah. I wondered if the score.
I mean, this is the humor of animators, though.
Oh God, yes. That's why we love it.
They're the best.
But he was a very supernatural villain or assassin or thug, Max. And I wondered if some of the score there, I'm not talking about Randy's songs, but some of the score might have been slightly influenced by the score to Bram Stoker's Dracula, which was very much on people's mind. Wojciech Kilar.
Mm-hmm.
who Coppola hired. He had never done a movie. He was well known in Polish classical music circles as a composer. And after Bram Stoker's Dracula, Kilar, I think I got his name right. He went to work for Polanski. He did 4 or 5 Polanski movies.
Well, he actually did. He did The Pianist.
Yeah,
He did the
right,
piano
which
for
was
The Pianist, and the guy that wrote the music, he played off of a lot of what Randy Newman did for the songs with Steve Goldstein.
yes, yeah, he was great too.
Did a wonderful job.
Yeah, and anyway, it's very much in the dark. There's a darkness. What Kilar's music for Bram Stoker's Dracula was just beautifully dark, and then he does it again in The Ninth Gate, the Johnny Depp movie that he did. I think that's the title. Another Polanski picture. But anyway, that fits with Max because he's the supernatural, scary giant. Yeah. Anyway, I'm glad we had time to cover that because that was a key thing in my notes. And I do remember that it's a little bit earlier in the film, and then it really pays off later in the film when he's about to smash Danny to death.
Well, then there's that last scene, which is an homage to Singing in the Rain, where
absolutely,
where Debbie Reynolds is singing behind.
Yeah.
And they reveal that she's what's actually. So
it's more than an homage to Singing in the Rain.
I don't want to. There's so many homages in this. I don't want to give away the whole film, but what's wonderful is that Danny thinks he's going to be able to bring back and show how the animals are really all these talented people or all these talented sentient beings. And the one person who really does come back and support him is Sawyer, the other cat, who, by the way, is just an assistant in the agent's,
She doesn't even want to be performer.
Her heart has been broken.
Right.
Because she started out as a dancer and she sees that animals are not valued.
And this is all early 30s musical tropes.
Yeah, they're tropes, everything.
Yeah.
She comes back and they do this big dance at the end. And
so Darla's crawling along. And now she's on stage and her cover's blown. She's got a microphone stuck to her, a hot mic. The mic's hanging over her head like this. And she says, I should have drowned you all when I flooded the stage. Yeah, it's very much a take on the Debbie Reynolds reveal that she's singing for Lena Lamont.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Mr. Kelly lived long enough to see some of this movie.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm hoping I will be doing a follow-up Holy Foley interview with Jim Katz.
Good.
Everybody,
please send my regards.
We are still buddies, and
we have not been in touch, and I send my regards.
We are on Facebook friends together, and I have been in touch with him for a long time.
Bless you.
And so he has agreed to do a Holy Foley episode.
Good.
So Jim, who I cannot say enough about what a great guy this guy is.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have, we've worked with a lot of the producer, director types, and we have our favorites, but I gotta say, Jim Katz.
He's still actively making product.
He does little stuff now and then. And, he was an actor and he started out back in the day. He actually knew Jimmy. He actually knew Billy Joel when Billy Joel was a piano man and not Billy Joel. I mean, he's got so many stories. He's living in Florida, and I keep up with him on Facebook, and I said, I really want to do an episode with you.
Good.
And I'm excited to say that Jim Katz, one of the producers of Cats Don't Dance, will be on Holy Foley. We will be talking about this. So I am really excited because we'll be able to hear other sides of how this movie came to be and what his role was and how this all happened. Because he'll know a lot that you and I don't know.
I'm really glad, and he's committed to doing a Holy Foley with you.
He's doing it. Yes, he said he's really excited. So
See if you can get him to look at my website.
I will.
That would be cool. Can
I
I talk
will.
about another scene in the movie before we run out of time? Okay.
Of course.
This is something that I invite anybody who's new to the film to really enjoy. There is a scene where Danny, the song and dance cat, and his little pal Pudge the penguin
Pudge is adorable.
They're in the trailer of Woolly Mammoth.
Oh,
Okay, who's the elephant who
or the
plays
mammoth.
the MGM lion opening to their films. They stick the fake tusks in, put a toupee on him, and he roars, and that it's like the take on the MGM lion. And they're in his trailer visiting, and he's playing the piano with his giant.
And he's just so elegant.
He's played
He's an
by
elegant mammoth.
and now it's John Rhys
And he
Davies.
and he serves tea.
Well, it's peanut tea because
It's
he's an
peanut
elephant.
tea. Yes.
And that's the scene I'd like everybody to see. The voice is John Rhys Davies,
Yes.
who you recognize from at least from one or two of the Indiana Jones pictures.
Or is it Rice Davies? I'm not sure.
Rice.
Yes. Rice. I think it's John Rice Davies, but yes, he's so elegant.
I remember him in Indy 3 saying, Father of Indy is what he called Sean Connery. Anyway, he has this beautiful voice, and he plays the mammoth. Now, they're in the trailer. It's almost like a circus wagon, almost like a covered Conestoga wagon. But he's in there, he's got his piano, and he's brewing tea, for the boys. And every time he steps to one side of the trailer or the other, the whole frickin' thing leans and turns, and we made wonderful sound effects for the creaking wood and the breaking dishes and everything that falls apart in the trailer because of his weight. And he does this 5 or 6.
Tea time. Would you chaps like a cup?
Sure.
Splendid. It's a special peanut brew from India, upper reaches. Pum, pum, pum. Oh, did you know the peanut is not a nut at all? And it's not a pea, for that matter, either. It's rather odd that they call it a nut because it isn't a nut, you see. It's a member of the legume family.
Yeah.
Wait. How about pea legume? No, that wouldn't make sense either. But whatever it is, it makes a splendid tea.
Then we cut to wide shots of the trailer. It's in the evening, and you can see the trailer going side to side like this. It's hilarious, and we had a great deal of fun with those sound effects because when things slid and broke in the trailer, and Willie didn't notice them at all, and of course, Danny and Pudge are very reacting to this with comic.
And they're sliding too, and I just want to interject that this was an area that we had both sound effects and Foley.
Exactly. This is one of those great examples of how you need both sound effects and Foley. If I'm going to crash dishes, let's say I need it from the library breaking ceramic dishes, but I also need some shards dropped on the Foley stage. Whatever you did, I don't remember. But
I don't remember. I mean,
but that's the kind of scene it is.
And then a minute ago.
It's been a minute, as they say down here. So he's one of my favorite bits. There is he's brewing the tea. And he's got this hot teapot, and he's holding it, I think, with a pot holder, a glove pot holder at the end of his long elephant trunk. And after he's poured the tea, he needs to get rid of the pot holder, which is stuck on the end of his elephant trunk, and he hoops it off like that. And we use the sound of a mailing tube, a lid on a mailing tube, because it has this resonance that would be like an elephant's trunk. The moments like that you just enjoy so much. It's really icing on the cake for sound effects people. And you'll find that that scene is very, very funny, and it's staged so hilariously.
That this was an area that we had both sound effects and Foley.
Exactly. This
Right.
is one of those great examples of how you need both sound effects and Foley. If I'm going to crash dishes, let's say I need it from the library breaking ceramic dishes, but I also need some shards dropped on the Foley stage. Whatever you did, I don't remember, but
I don't remember. I mean,
but that's the kind of scene it is.
It
And
was
then-
a minute ago.
It's been a minute, as they say down here. So he's one of my favorite bits there is he's brewing the tea. And he's got this hot teapot and he's holding it, I think, with a pot holder, a glove pot holder at the end of his long elephant trunk. And after he's poured the tea, he needs to get rid of the pot holder, which is stuck on the end of his elephant trunk, and he poops it off like that. And we use the sound of a mailing tube, a lid on a mailing tube, because it has this
Yes.
resonance that would be like an elephant's trunk. The moments like that you just enjoy so much. It's really icing on the cake for sound effects people. And you'll find that that scene is very, very funny, and it's staged so hilariously. Wooly will say to the boys, did you want some sugar? No, because they know if he moves, the whole thing collapses again. Then at the very end of it, Danny and Pudge, because they've been flown up in the air by Wooly's actions, and they come down and sit on, I guess, piano stools or something.
Uh-huh.
And their tea cups, the tea from their cups has been up in the air, and it comes down and splashes. Little things like that that animation directors and writers come up with are such a pleasure to watch. It's not about the plot, it's about the execution.
I think what is important to know about this film is I read some of the reviews, like Roger Ebert, did not have a great review talking about a lack of plot and everything. It's like, this was not about plot. A lot of animated films were never about plot. They were about relationship and sentiment and emotion and story, and they were about lessons.
Yeah.
And this film, this particular animated film has so much heart, once again, like Goofy Movie, and it's got these little moments and these characters. And one of the things about animation and animators is, yes, you talk about those mailing tubes that sound. When you have an animator's humor and you translate it to that sound, it is what the joy of sound editing and sound design can be about.
Mm-hmm.
If you aren't just a cut and paste sort of sound editor.
Right.
If you are actually looking for a subtle way of being funny without hitting someone over the head.
Right. And also without stealing thunder from the animation itself.
Right. It's that wonderful blend.
Mm-hmm.
And
because we all want to be good accompanists for the bigger kids in the circle,
right.
For their storytelling.
Yeah.
You have a great number, the big and loud number. Do you want to talk about that?
Oh,
the
God.
Showstopper of all showstoppers.
This is a very funny number because Darla Dimple, who has everybody pleasing her because she's terrifying and she's big for the studio, we can't give too much of the plot away, but she's trying to sabotage Danny. And so she does this number called Big and Loud, about how she wants to sabotage him by having him do exactly the wrong thing to really annoy the head of the studio. And so she does this big number called Big and Loud. They like it big, they like it loud. and it's this big show-stopping number where she goes all the way up to the top of a cake and kicks and sings and loud. And I mean, it really is an hysterically funny number. And there's
It starts with her rolling on the piano in a sexy way.
she's
And
the chubby little, I don't know, 6-year-old, 7-year-old.
yeah, a cute little sexless baby girl, and she rolls on the piano all sexy. And it builds incredibly well to the top of this giant cake where she has like 25 male
These
dancers.
male dancers all falling all over themselves with top hats.
Yeah. In itself, it's like a parody of Hollywood in the period, all by itself in that one number in the brilliant Randy Newman.
And then at the very
song.
end, as she comes down at the very end at the piano and she's looking at Danny, my favorite of her lines, leaves you kind of speechless, don't it?
Yeah, that was a great button on the thing.
Yeah.
Just great.
And you had to extend the loud.
Yes, I was going to talk about that.
Well, I remember that we had to do a little work on that in the ADR stage with the group loop with Debbie Derryberry, who actually helped extend that.
Because it's the last word in the song that's actually vocalized, big and loud.
And it didn't work. So Debbie Derryberry, she always said, Debbie Derryberry, she was one of our gets that we got. I mean, we had Bob Bergen, and I mean, I cannot believe the talent. I had Pete Renaday.
Yes, I remember.
No longer with us, but I had Pete Renaday, who was the voice of Country Bear Jamboree when you used to go into the Country Bear.
Yeah, you had Bill Farmer who did Goofy.
I mean, I can't believe the people I had on the.
I'm just looking at this real quickly. I see Pete Renaday and oh Lordy.
I mean, I got to assemble the ADR group. Thank you, Jim Katz, for trusting me. He asked me to assemble the ADR group and direct them. I couldn't believe it. I was so honored. And then I just was going through my old MIPSI, I haven't even found them all, the wins and nominations, because I know that we won for Predator, and I know we won for Die Hard, and I know I was part of the team that won for sound effects for Dollmaker, but I got a nomination for best casting for ADR for Cats Don't Dance, which I don't even remember because
you're credited with putting the loop group together.
Yeah, and I got a nomination for best ADR, casting, and I'm just going, I don't remember that, but I found the certificate. But Debbie Derryberry, Debbie Derryberry, that's how she used to say her name. It was so adorable. Had to do the very end of that loud.
Yeah, you had to extend the vowels, and in sound editing, extending a vowel is very difficult.
Yeah, she had to do
because
that.
You can't cut pieces together without hearing the cuts.
Yeah. So thank you, Debbie.
And Debbie Derryberry?
Debbie Derryberry.
Which of Charles Dickens' novels is she a character in?
She was this tiny little blonde, really adorable, who did animated voices. And, I'm sure they wondered why the hell I was there leading everybody. Because, I mean, Pete knew, and I'd worked with Bob before, and he's very respectful. And some of them, but she, I'm sure, wondered, who the heck are you? But she had to do that, and she did the out loud.
Yeah. Tricky.
So that was Debbie Derryberry.
And then the mixers had to blend all that. It sounds absolutely like the singer who did the character, the animated character is singing it.
Yeah.
And they often do these miracles, and people don't know that they're doing their job, and that's as it should be.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. So our post-mortem of a film that people really, I saw it again because I have the DVD. Thank you, Jim Cat. Thank you, Mark Dindal. Thank you, Universe. Thank you, Gene Kelly, for giving me choreography. I mean, it's not the first time I did dance Foley. I did dance Foley on White Nights. I did dance Foley on a lot of things. You know, I've done dance Foley a lot, having started out as a dancer. But this one it wasn't difficult dancing. It's just that knowing that he did his own Foley and knowing that I got to have my little tiny piece of honoring one of the all-time greats was, I don't know, I'm sure I cried because I do cry at baseball. It was kind of nice. Are there any little buttons you want to add to this very lovely?
I want to pat myself on the back for being very restrained with necessary sound effects during the Tell Me Lies number. The song is so,
talk about that.
It's so beautiful, but look, it's raining. It's the big city. So there have to be a few cues. There's an L train or choo-choo train that goes by.
Well, because it's LA, it'd be a red car thing.
There's city sounds. There's a trolley line zap, electric zaps. There's thunder. Okay. So my challenge, and I think I'm a very restrained.
But I just want to insert here, Dave, because no single person worked with you more than me, I think.
That's probably true. Because
we did, I think, 20 projects.
Mm-hmm.
You never overdo.
I think I can read what writers and film directors have in mind. And now that I'm using my retirement time to study old movies with simpler monaural tracks on soundofashot.com, plug. I'm looking at some of the movies I got paid to work on and remembering I'm very proud of my good taste and restraint. I didn't want to get in the way of any single movie frame of Tell Me Lies or ever steal the audience ear from Natalie Cole's voice. That's such a touching number. Everybody cries.
With a pot of gold at the end. I'm much too smart for fairy tales like that. Yet here I am again. I thought this time we're gonna make it. Why I thought so, I really don't know. Maybe something in his eyes just told me so.
So I had to deal with rain, city sounds, trolley zaps, thunder.
And beautiful animation of how wonderfully she's drawn.
Yes, of course.
Spear is drawn beautifully.
But if you, as our friend Steve Flick used to say, you see a dog, hear a dog. When you see these things on the screen, they have to be covered. They can be diminished enormously in the mix, but if they're too diminished in the mix, it's going to look weird. So where the animation points to something that's a city sound, I'm almost obliged to interrupt the beautiful singer and the mood of the scene to interrupt it with some effing noise because, you know, sound is sound, but an interruption is noise. And you don't want to do that. And I'm just very proud of how it came out in the mix. And forgive me, I'll bet you know who the mixers were, and I've forgotten already. There were some of our best old friends, like
So Alan
producers.
Hawley is ADR, Doc Kane, Greg Landacker,
Yeah,
Dwayne Avery, and Will Geisler worked on it. Let's see.
I'm looking for Landacker, great re-recording mixer, of course. Maslow, his long time buddy on the stage.
Who came from music, was originally a musician and a music engineer. So of course he would have been the music mixer.
Yes,
Had incredible
we
taste.
used to tell everybody Steve Maslow was in the original Strawberry Alarm Clock.
Yes.
But you see, because there's no production dialogue in an animated feature, they can do that.
Yeah.
Somebody
don't-
pre-dubs,
They
you know,
don't have to
the dialogue is all
watch the
clean.
dialogue.
Yeah, so nobody's outside with the noise of the city behind them. It's all artificial. So you can do it with two, and I just didn't remember
It
that.
was not a high budget production.
There you go. There you go.
And I want to say something about those two re-recording mixers.
Yes,
'Cause
do.
they don't get talked about that much.
New.
So Greg Landecker and Steve Maslow, who were at Warner Hollywood, were two of the most experienced, artistic, tasteful re-recording mixers we had the honor of working with, and that we got to work with a lot. And we were really lucky.
Yeah, they're fun guys. They're funny guys. They're just a little younger than me, which is to say they're getting very old.
Which means they're just a little older than me,
Yes.
because you are, you know, they're just between the two of us.
And I imagine they're still working. I don't know. They could
No,
well
I
have
don't think so. No,
retired by now.
they're retired.
You don't want to mix movies when you're over 70, for heaven's sakes.
No.
But I was with them way back. I think the first time I experienced those guys was on, oh God, it could have been Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon, going way back.
Which you had heard some of my temp Foley on.
Yeah, that's right. At Gordon Ecker's place.
Yeah.
Anyway, now we're
Now we're getting into the weeds.
now we're reminiscing in the weeds that
Yeah,
the viewers
so,
don't want to
you
hear
know, there are
about.
so many things we can talk about. But I think we should end on just saying from soup to nuts, as I started. From soup to nuts, when we first started working on Cats Don't Dance with a new director and a very generous, hands-on, involved but not controlling producer,
Yeah.
Doc Kane recording voices and Alan Hawley recording voices, and working with one of my favorite Foley mixers, and working with both Rick Partlow and Rick Sanchez at night, because we worked days too, and being able to do some Gene Kelly choreography and some beautiful cell animation and some wonderful music and a lovely story, and doing a lot of animal feet. So there were a lot of human footsteps. There was just a little bit of Sawyer in high heels, and Tilly, the hippo, in she wore high heels. Well, I think I did her though. I think I did her in coconut feet, because I don't think she was in high heels. She was in coconut feet. I think I did coconut feet for her in a very weird way. And homage, a love letter to Hollywood. You'll even see a depiction of the brown derby, the hat brown derby, not the square brown derby that's up in Los Feliz, but the round-headed brown
Well,
derby that's down
the
in Hollywood, the original brown derby.
Yeah.
That was
the
shaped
classic
like a
original.
brown derby.
Yeah.
in the Beverly Hills
and
area.
it's since then moved to several locations. I want to also give props to the best assistant sound editor on the planet, Sunny Sonia Pettyjohn.
Sunny Pettyjohn.
And also I'll say something about Mark Mangini, because he's so well lauded these days with his, 2 Oscars for Denis Villeneuve's movies, and a wonderful ear. He designed special woo-woo shit sound effects for the evil reprise of Big and Loud. And when you see this movie, you'll see that Darla has a second. She has a reprise of the Big and Loud number, and it's expressing her vengeance toward the other animals and how she's going to torture them.
Mm-hmm.
So it becomes a nightmare scene, a beautifully drawn nightmare scene. And I handled all the sort of hardcore regular sound effects in that. But Mark took some extra time to make, literally design on his electronic gear, special, supernatural, creepy, nightmarish sounds that are in that little scene. They go by pretty damn fast, but I just wanted to acknowledge that.
You know, we should just say something about Mark really quickly, because there were several things that you worked on with him. You did Beauty and the Beast with him, I believe, or was that? No, that was Mark.
Mm-hmm.
And I came in and did footsteps on that because there wasn't enough time. You had another crew doing it, and they were doing some of the prop stuff, and I think I had 2 days to do all the footsteps. And then you did a couple of other things with him, and this, and I think you did Gremlins.
Well, I cut under him on Gremlins.
And then you did Gremlins.
And then we co-supervised Gremlins too.
Right.
Or that was early in my supervising rap sheet.
Right. And
but that's just technical.
But the thing is, the two of you have very different approaches on how you work,
mm-hmm.
and very different ways of handling crews, and very different sound visions, I would say,
mm-hmm.
which is kind of a sound visions, which is a real oxymoron. But mutual respect for what each other does.
Yeah.
And I don't think that should ever be lost. And this was pretty much your project, but if he had not been the touch point from Warner Brothers,
absolutely,
that you never would have been able to do.
I wouldn't have had the gig.
Talking about it now.
I mean, Kat's never heard of me.
But,
not Cats Don't Dance, but Jim Katz.
But he has now.
I hope so.
He never forgot you. So thank you again.
Thank you, Jim Katz. Thank you, Mark Mangini, for the tip, for the gig. We had a wonderful time.
Mark Dindal for making a wonderful film.
Mm-hmm. Maslow and Landecker for mixing all of our junk beautifully.
And thank you, Alan. I think Alan was the one that mixed our group loop. And I want to thank all of the great people who got their careers launched on
mm-hmm.
Cats Don't Dance and went forward and did great things, because a lot of people had their first jobs on that show.
It is not to be missed.
Let us try to launch a 30-year anniversary celebration and get this film back out there in 2027.
Not impossible.
Yeah.
People do discover old movies, and old movies can come back.
Okay. And so everybody keep listening. We're going to do a follow-up with Jim Katz, because nothing's going to spoil us now.
That's right.
I've seen them come and I've seen them go. There's one thing that I know. You gotta give the people what they want, or you'll wind up back in Kokomo, Nebraska.
Indiana, Miss Dimple.
Whatever.